but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and I've got Bob Savage with me.
Hey everybody, Duck, here comes another week.
Yeah, here comes another week. This weekend was actually really nice.
It was great.
How was your weekend,
Very
Bob?
nice, yep.
Yeah, no, it was great. My wife and I, we got a chance to go to a restaurant or two and have some sit-down eating.
Whoa, how about that?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting experience, though, because you have to wear the mask when you go into the restaurant, but then when you sit down, you're allowed to not have the mask on. And they've got all these paper menus. I'm guessing the requirement must be that they dispose of the menus after people use them.
Yeah, single-use menus. You can't have people handling menus that have been on the table, and that goes for all other phases. We also ate out last night as well, and like for example, if you want a grated Parmesan cheese, they don't bring the grater over. They bring you a little plastic container of the cheese, and it's all pre-grated.
Yeah. So it was a nice experience going out, but we were one of 4 tables at the whole restaurant, so it wasn't very social. The menu, we went to 2 different places. In both places, the menus were extremely limited. My guess is because they don't know how many people are going to come in, so they're not ordering as much food, and they're struggling to get by. What else was weird? One place was serving things in like plastic cups instead of their regular like bar glasses. But the other place seemed to have regular cups, so I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to run the dishwasher or something.
We had the water glasses and the wine glasses were in cocktail glasses. In my case, were all glass. I mean, they were the regular glasses. But again, a lot of the things that would normally be brought to your table are brought in sealed containers, and of course, the server is wearing a mask. And as you noted, as long as you're sitting at the table, you don't have to wear a mask because obviously it's hard to eat it and drink and have a mask on. But if you get up to use the men's room, ladies' room, you have to go out to the car, or whatever. You have to pull the mask up.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. And of course, one of the places we went to, there was a group of younger kids, if you will, who wanted to go in. They didn't have masks, and they were upset and like kind of yelling at the staff of the establishment about
we don't need that. That's
crazy. Yeah. And they were like, well, we don't understand, we're gonna say and what they don't understand is this is Andrew Cuomo's deal. Remember, Cuomo said if you're gonna be upset with somebody, be upset with me. So they gotta take that up with Cuomo. I'm totally fine with that. I'm upset with him.
As a matter of fact, I have my Andrew Cuomo face mask. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't.
It's a what they call a gaiter, and it's a kind of an elastic thing that you pull down over your head, and it goes down on your neck, and then you pull it up over your face. And anyway, it's got Andrew Cuomo with a big red slash through it.
There you go.
Which gets a lot of positive comments.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, especially you walk through the grocery store wearing that. See, I thought that we should be doing that with the reusable bags in the grocery store, because you could put whatever you want on those, have whatever you want printed on them, which is really interesting to me that we went from this whole banning plastic bags to now we're using like a lot more plastic to have one-time use stuff on purpose because of the virus, and it's basically been state mandated. So the state first banned plastic bags, and now they're basically mandating people use more plastic products because of the COVID situation. Well, so I don't think there's been any break even anywhere on any of this Go Green stuff.
No, it's more of the illogic of the left. They just pick these, they cherry pick these pet causes, and they pursue it with fanatically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I am excited seeing some businesses are starting to open. I have seen, unfortunately, many who announce that they haven't made it. They're not going to make it. They're going to shut down permanently, which is always just really, really disappointing to me because I know much of this could have been prevented. We could have kept people safe and kept the economy open. It's just really disappointing to me, especially as a small business owner. People ask me all the time, they're like, well, hey, your business was essential, so you guys are probably fine. And the truth is we were essential, but maybe half of our customers weren't. So they had to be shut down anyways. So it did impact us in many bad ways, even though we were essential. And even some of our essential customers, medical offices in particular, you would have thought would have rode through this. We do have medical offices that we support that have shut down permanently because they couldn't see patients. Yeah. They couldn't do telemedicine.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah. I see Burgundy Basin Inn is done, and I see that the Burger King on West Henrietta Road, not that I went there, but I was just driving by to another destination, and they're gone. The sign has been taken down, and place is locked up and dark.
Yep. Yeah, and I think we're going to see more and more of that. In my industry, we look at things like data loss, for example, and we know that if a company has a major data loss and they don't have a backup that they can restore, they usually go out of business within 6 months. I think you're going to see something kind of similar with this, where companies have been able to maybe squeak through and coast through this. But I think by the time we hit phase 4, or maybe even a little bit later, we're going to find that a lot of them were maybe living on credit, lines of credit, loans, things like that. Their debt, they might not have been able to catch up with. Because think about it, you can get that PPP loan, but you're not allowed to use that on debt that you owed in the last 100-some days that you were losing business. So even if you could keep your staff on board and you could pay them and you can pay your rent, you weren't able to, for 100 days, you might not have been able to pay debt that you took out on maybe machinery or inventory or whatever it is. I think we're going to see over the next 6 months, we're going to see a lot of other businesses fail and go under.
Well, again, at the end of the month here, the PPP money is gone. Now, the smart money is saying that more PPP loans are forthcoming. There will be another, bunch of that money. Congress will pass that before the August recess. There's no way that the House is just going to, or the Senate is just going to let that go. Not in an election year, but it's going to be tough because once again, in 2 weeks' time, everybody's PPP money is gone. Ours ran out Friday, so we're back on our own again. It was a nice respite. It helped out, but this was completely unnecessary. This whole shutdown. I think that it could have been accomplished in much less time, with much more moderate safety measures being imposed with the same results. And you see that Governor Headcase is already threatening to roll back the restart now because he's mad because there's news pictures of people partying in the East End of New York, which from reports that I have, by the way, is that New York City is completely out of control. It's the businesses are they're gone. There's nothing for people to do. The jobs are gone. There's all kinds of homeless people all over the place. It's a mess. All of the positives of the last generation that were accomplished by Bloomberg and Rudy Giuliani have been essentially undone by this moron mayor they've got.
Yeah, and actually, I have that on my list of some of the things we're going to talk about a little bit later today because Cuomo's, taking the big stick iron fist approach on this and saying, I'm going to shut you guys down again. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But after break, what we're going to talk about real briefly is about the LA schools. They had a police department, and they were saying they're going to return grenade launchers, but they're going to keep an MRAP carrier. We're going to talk about that. There's some truth to this. There's some maybe inaccuracy in it. I want to let you guys in on what's going on here. We'll talk about that more when we come back on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
I'm Las from Action Towing and Service. We are the biggest towing company in New York State, but we do a lot more than just towing. We will tow just about anything, but we will also repair just about anything as well. We offer a courtesy shuttle and pickup. We offer a drop box service. We have all these amenities that we've put in place to make sure that every one of our customers can receive the best service possible. Please give us an opportunity to win your business. Come down and visit us at 275 Marketplace Drive, right off of Jefferson Road.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice, save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe, ride free, ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Ladies and gentlemen, our governor.
If you are upset by what we have done, be upset at me. County executive did not do this. The village mayor did not do this. The city mayor did not make these decisions. I made these decisions. It's not your local elected official. I know they caused disruption. I know people are upset. I know businesses will be hurt by this.
But I don't really care. Anyway, here's Andrew.
Yeah. I got to tell you, one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit later is NPR yesterday just put out a report saying that it looks like all this coronavirus stuff was blown out of proportion. And
NPR is saying this?
NPR, yes. I thought it was very important to cite the source there so that everybody knows. Even NPR now is saying that this was blown out of proportion. It was overhyped. And the new numbers from Johns Hopkins are pretty telling. We're going to talk about that later today. But just kind of keep that in mind. Even NPR is saying this now. So it's important to know. So, Los Angeles. LA police say they are going to return grenade launchers to the military as a part of that purchasing program that allows police departments to purchase military equipment or sometimes just get it for free when it comes out of military service. So the first thing I want to put out here is this actually did really happen. However, giant asterisk here, this happened in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. There's no reason for civil police to have grenade launchers.
No, I agree. The thing is, though, people think that this just happened, and they think it's happening because of the protests that are happening right now, and they think that this idea that police departments shouldn't have this type of equipment here stateside is a new thing. It's not. People have been protesting against this and fighting against this for a long time, and this article resurfaced, and people have been sharing it all over, and they're like, holy crap, this is the police department that operates in the school district. So this wasn't even like the SWAT team had grenade launchers. This was the school police officers. They had 3 grenade launchers, 61, it sounds like, fully automatic rifles, which they said they weren't giving those back. They're keeping them. And they had one of those mine-resistant, ambush-protected armor vehicles, those NRAPs, those giant tank-looking things that are meant to protect people from IED bombs. That's what the school district police department had. And they kept the armored vehicle, they kept the rifles, but they said, you know what, with all the protests, with all the civil unrest, all this other stuff, people are getting upset. I guess we'll return the grenade launchers as probably
really?
We wouldn't use those against the students.
I think that sends the wrong message, having grenade launchers. I mean, if they can have them, we should have them.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the thing that I think is also important to bring up here is the protests and the civil unrest that brought this up, that this department decided to return these grenade launchers, was from Ferguson. And so much has happened this year. You know, I think sometimes people forget this isn't new. I mean, we had protests in Ferguson in 2014 when Michael Brown was shot by police officer Darren Wilson. And there was protests, and there was buildings being burnt, and there was civil unrest, and there were people pushing for reform and saying, hey, the police shouldn't have these type of weapons. They shouldn't have this type of stuff. And it made a change, but it made a change just in this one area. And now we're seeing this kind of like happen again and again and again. And I think probably the thing that's really frustrating to me is that people keep falling for the same trick from politicians over and over again. And that trick is exactly what we're seeing a lot of elected officials do right now, where these elected officials stand up and go, yeah, I'm standing in solidarity for insert problem here. It doesn't matter if it's the Black Lives Matter movement. It doesn't matter if it's qualified immunity. It doesn't matter what it is. These elected officials, they stand up and say, yes, I'm going to write a resolution against this thing. And a resolution is just a piece of paper that is just total virtue signaling. It doesn't actually change anything. And then they go, I did my part. I'm glad. I'm happy. Look at that. I've fixed things. When they haven't made any policy changes. They haven't actually done anything to enact real change. And once again, this doesn't have to be just this topic. This is literally like almost any topic where there is an upset populace, the voters are angry, maybe there's civil unrest. You know, the elected officials are so used to doing nothing, just speaking some words in support and getting nothing done, that now they don't understand why people have been protesting now. What are we on, like day 16 or something like that?
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since the weekend riots. So, yeah, I think it's 16 sounds right.
Yeah, and so some of our elected officials are still kind of standing here scratching their heads. They're like, "What do you mean? I said that that Black Lives Matter. I said that we shouldn't be using overwhelming force or bad force. I said that. I don't understand. Why are you guys upset? Because the people are starting to ask for action, and I think that this is a pretty interesting time for us to look and see what's going on, especially those in the Second Amendment community who have been fighting for a long time against certain oppression of our rights and haven't made progress. And I'm not saying follow the same path, but I'm saying this path is working. So I think it's probably important to just point this out and say that these issues have been going on for a long time, and the elected officials keep getting elected constantly. Where does that sound familiar? Basically every issue. They keep saying, oh yeah, I support this movement, just like, you have your elected officials that say, well, of course I support the Second Amendment. But nothing changes. Well, now the people are taken to the streets. Now the people are protesting. They're out there day after day after day. Before I came on the air, I saw they were doing a live stream with all the major media outlets talking about their issues again. And now elected officials are like, oh crap, maybe we should be listening. So just kind of, food for thought. A very interesting observation for me. The other thing that was pretty interesting about this article, though, as I was reading through and doing a little bit of research, the LA school district was only one of 22 school districts back in 2014 that was getting these military weapons from the military when they came out of the military. I can only guess that more have received them since. So who knows what your school district may or may not have. If your school district has a police department, I know the Rochester City School District does have like RPD in the schools because I was a student there. We had police officers in the school. And I don't know. I don't know if Rochester City Police Department had grenade launchers and MRAPs and stuff like that. But if they did, I think that's a bad idea. That's not good.
By the way, I don't think that Andrew is suggesting that we should do away with police resource officers. But MRAPs are, if you'll pardon the expression, overkill.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, why would the police department need a rolling armored vehicle unless they feel that the laws that they're enforcing are so bad that the people are going to turn up against them? And why would you need that for a school? I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Well, that's
and
ridiculous.
yeah, this isn't supposed to, this shouldn't sound like, oh, this is like anti-cop or anything like that. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is we should all be questioning why our government feels so threatened by we the people that they need military grade equipment at their fingertips to keep us at bay. And that's what my concern is, personally.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, providing counterpoint to this, by the way, we got a couple of minutes left before the break. Police called to a Baltimore County, Maryland home after school personnel spotted a BB gun in the home during a virtual class session. Fox 45 News reports the BB gun was seen in an 11-year-old boy's bedroom. The boy's mother, Courtney Lancaster, said shortly thereafter, police were knocking on her door. I answered the door. The police officer was very nice. He explained to me that he was coming to address an issue with my son's school, said Courtney Lancaster, and then explained to me he was here to search for weapons in my home, and I consented to let him in. And then I, unfortunately, stood there and watched police officers enter my 11-year-old son's bedroom. Lancaster said she was told someone had spotted the BB gun while her son had his laptop open for virtual class. She was flabbergasted, saying, I thought this is outrageous. This is despicable. I had no idea what in the world could this be over. BB guns never once entered my mind. How many 11-year-old boys have BB guns? Well, I would venture to say probably one less now.
Yeah, I'm sure that was confiscated. That is just a terrible story, and this is where it's going. Kid can't even have a BB gun in the house without the police showing up to search the place, confiscate weapons in the home. This is just terrible. All right, guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 25,000 New Yorkers that called the cops on their friends and neighbors over the weekend.
Karens
All the
everywhere, ladies and
Karens.
gentlemen.
Yep. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Now, more than twice the power.
More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the Newstead NBC Weather Center. Tonight, clear skies, 40s and low 50s. Tuesday, another beautiful day with sunshine in the upper 70s. A little warmer on Wednesday, mostly sunny. Back up into the 80s, but still dry weather. And a little more humid and some heat near 90 Thursday and Friday. I'm Rich Cadelia on WYSL.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Because your future is worth it. MGM Associates Insurance. Proudly serving the region since 1984, MGM can meet your coverage needs, ranging from home, condo, and auto, all the way to specialized policies for business, workers' comp, to limo and taxi insurance, and coverage for tech professionals like IT specialists. They can also help lead you through the confusing maze in the new world of health insurance coverage and options. MGM Associates is large enough to serve you, but small enough to care, so you don't have to wait in line on some 800 number to get prompt personal attention. MGM Associates is the only winner of the National Best Practices Award 5 times in a row. MGM is proud to support veterans groups, including Heroes Home Advantage. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, put the experience of MGM Associates Insurance on your team. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield. 381-7008 or mgminsure.com. An associate of Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty, Route 227 in Trumansburg, New York.
There's no need to get beat up on the job. Available at C&B Mower in Lima, the all-new Ferris ISX 3300 commercial mower features the industry's most advanced independent suspension system. 4-front, 4 steel control rods ensure the caster tires follow the terrain and remain vertical for reduced caster chatter. This allows you to mow faster and get more done while staying comfortable so you can finish the day feeling good. Productivity doesn't end there. The Vanguard oil system provides less maintenance and more performance by extending oil change intervals to 500 hours. The Oil Guard system provides extended engine life and over 60% oil service savings per unit per season. So stop by C&B Mower routes 5 and 20 just east of the village of Lima today to see how the Ferris ISX 3300 has your back. Ferris, work hard, feel good.
Come home to calm, quiet, and beautiful Woodgate Apartments and Townhomes in Spencerport. Just minutes from downtown Rochester. Choose from 1 or 2 bedroom apartments or 2 or 3 bedroom 2-floor townhomes in an historic canal village featuring nearby restaurants and shopping. You'll appreciate the balconies, patios, and beautiful pool. The townhomes include an attached garage. Come take a tour and meet our friendly and knowledgeable on-site staff, Cedar Circle in Spencerport, or visit WoodgatePlaceAPTS.com to learn more.
Stay safe and in your car. Let us do the work. The Avon Gasway on Route 39 features all-American Valero gasoline with full-service gas island, plus ethanol-free gas, on- and off-road diesel, crystal clear kerosene, and propane exchange. Open daily. The Avon Gasway, Route 39.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. Could you imagine seeing friends, family, and your community just having a great time, going out, enjoying themselves, and thinking, you know what I need to do? I need to report them because maybe they're just not standing far enough apart. Maybe they're not wearing a face mask. So you pick up the phone and you call the police or whatever secret reporting hotline, and you say, yeah, the neighbors, they've got 13 people instead of 12, or they're standing 5.5 feet apart, or whatever it happens to be. Well, turns out this was New York on Saturday. 25,000 people across the state took it upon themselves to pick up the phone and rat out their neighbors, their community members, maybe their competition across the street because they have more business than they do. I don't know. It's pretty disappointing.
You know a lot of that's going on. You just know.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen on Facebook a number of kind of like sole proprietor type businesses, and I'm not going to say what industry this in, but at least one industry specifically. I have seen people saying, if I see anybody in my industry out there doing work, I'm going to report them so their business gets shut down and they get fined and, all of these things. And this industry can operate totally safely, by the way. They don't even have to come in contact with people. The only reason this industry isn't running or wasn't running is because Cuomo just didn't deem them essential. So it's totally safe. It's way safer than going to Wegmans or Walmart. And all these people in this industry are saying, yeah, if I see anybody, I'm going to report them and this and that. We've bred this terrible, Nazi culture where people are reporting on each other and telling the government to get people fined and locked up and shut down. It's so terrible and un-American.
Well, I'm sure going on throughout the state. Sure, there's writing on for self-interested reasons, not so much. Very good. I just want to note this. This report came as part of Andrew Cuomo's, interminable, insufferable, news conference yesterday on TV. And he was the one who's brought up the 25,000 complaints. I'll leave it up to you as to whether you choose to believe that or not. 25,000 actual complaints. I suppose it's possible. But this was also coupled with his warning to restaurants, general adult entertainment, that you don't observe the rules, the law, as Cuomo calls it, which it's not, because it's an executive order. It's not a law. But if you don't observe the law, that he's going to cancel their liquor licenses.
Yep.
So this is just all of a piece of Andy Cuomo's authoritarian, typical, if he's not lecturing, he's threatening, kind of the way that's his style of governance. And so the 25,000, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and he said that number was statewide, so I'm sure he pick and chose how he counted these numbers. But here's the thing. He used that number to justify, taking an iron fist and saying, I will put you out of business. I will take away your livelihood. I will fine you. I will do whatever it is in my power to hurt you for not following my will. That was essentially his message.
That's what Democrats do. I mean, look at Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. A 70-year-old barber up there just trying to, earn a living. And first thing she does is take away his license. Well, first of all, why do barbers need licenses? That's insane.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. A lot of occupational licensing is just for government control.
But that was the again, the authoritarian boot of government comes down on you if you don't do exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah. Actually, Cuomo I should have screenshotted it and put it up for you guys here on the live stream. Cuomo actually had on his nice little PowerPoint, saying that he will take away your license to operate. And all this, it's just so bad. We're seeing government has created itself, which is given itself so much power and so much authority and so much money. Let's not forget that. I mean, they literally loaded racism stuff. Well, everybody else is struggling, given themselves everything they want, then have the power to just point and go, you know what? You can't operate here anymore. I decided were the rules today. And, you know, in fairness to a lot of these restaurants, and some of the county executives have stood up and said, hey, Cuomo, not for nothing, but your rules aren't clear. We don't totally understand what you want, what you don't want, because the things you say in one place don't line up with some other. They're not exactly clear. Your executive order isn't clear. And now you're going to use government force against these companies and against these people. Doesn't sound like the United States of America to me. Sounds like just total totalitarian. I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna do what I want. And here's the thing that Cuomo said. I've actually got it here in quotes because I think this is pretty important. He says, "Before I reverse a statewide position, I'm going to do. I'm going to reverse it in those areas that are not in compliance with the rules. I'm going to reverse it in those areas where those local governments did not comply with the law. That is what is going to happen here. I am warning today, in a nice way, consequences of your actions."
In a nice way. Yeah, just I'm just the governor, the ruler of the second biggest state in the country, and I'm just going to end your livelihood because I can do it, and because there's nobody with any guts to stand up to me.
Yeah, and the other thing that I want to point out that I think is very important, he wants everybody in the state to be afraid of him, because he said, before I reverse a statewide position, I'm going to do it in the areas first. So what he's basically saying is he's willing to shut down the whole state all over again. He'll start with the problem areas, but if he has to, he'll shut down the whole state.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen.
If he tries, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because you're going to see a lot more people out in the streets protesting, and you're going to see a lot of businesses open, and you're going to see businesses starting to operate whether or not they have the license. And then his only option is going to be to send state troopers there to actually arrest the people operating, if the people even let them in.
Here's another example of this behavior, by the way. Pennsylvania, right next door, folks. Lawmakers vote to end Pennsylvania's COVID-19 emergency disaster. Governor Wolf says it's not over. So he's basically just defying his own legislature.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to see. Tensions are high between the community and lawmakers. And the lawmakers are still just kind of ruling like there's no big deal. And I think it's because right now a lot of the attention is focused on law enforcement. But people are starting to say and speak up and say, hey, these people are the ones making the laws. And if they keep pushing, there's going to be more trouble. So Cuomo actually said that, there's video and pictures all over on Facebook and social media, Instagram, of people like going to restaurants, drinking, having a good time. Well, his team has already gone out. They've started scraping up all that video. And apparently his team is reaching out to each of those restaurants and each of those bars and all of those establishments and giving them their personal warning from the governor himself. So that's how serious and power hungry and controlling he wants to be. He wants you to be afraid. So I'm pretty disappointed. The whole thing. It's very frustrating for me. Guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. We're going to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about the NPR report on coronavirus response being blown way out of proportion. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
And hello to our friends along the network line, WACK 1420 AM, 96.9 FM in Wayne County, up in Newark and Sodus and those areas. And in the Twin Tiers of New York and Pennsylvania, we've got the Patriot, WENY 1230 and 1450 in Elmira and Corning, and 106.9 on the south side. More to come.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Fiorella, a family-owned farm-to-table Italian restaurant at the Rochester Public Market, is open for curbside contactless takeout Wednesday through Saturday. Lunch 11:30 to 2 and dinner 4 to 8. Fiorella offers wood-fired, old-world-style pizza with naturally leavened dough and house-made fresh pasta. Check out our Facebook and Instagram at Restaurant Fiorella for nightly specials. Thursday is gnocchi night. Call 434-5705. View the takeout menu on the web, restaurantfiorella.com.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
Oh, we got trouble. We got trouble. Andrew Hollister, how about this? We may not be living in New York much longer.
No,
we may not.
That might be a good thing.
Well, wait till I'm
not sure.
Actually, talking about the name New York. Once this story gets out, I think there's going to be a lot of trouble. So let's do it. It's Monday. New York, both the city and state, named after the House of York, and particularly for James Stuart, then Duke of York in England. And why does that matter, you ask? Because the Duke of York was one of the most successful slavers in colonial American history. The memory of slavery thus enshrined in the name New York. James Stuart conquered the settlements between the Delaware and the Connecticut rivers from the Dutch in 1664. The name of the principal port, New Amsterdam, promptly changed to honor the new master. Sounds familiar. James' brother, King Charles II of England, gave the territory to the Duke in exchange for 4 beaver pelts every year. The Duke of York later became King James II of England, and James VII of Scotland created Britain's greatest slave empire, known as the Royal African Company, transporting between 90,000 and 100,000 African slaves to the Caribbean and American colonies between 1762 and 1689. So, what do you think our new name should be there, Andrew?
Well, I know what it shouldn't be, and that it shouldn't be Cuomo land or the land of Mario Cuomo or anything like that. I don't know much about New Amsterdam, but I know there's been a push for New York or at least upstate, to break off and be New Amsterdam for a long time. So who knows?
We could call ourselves New Sicily.
New Sicily. There you go. Yeah, we call ourselves whatever. Place under the lakes. Yeah, I don't know. But that's interesting. That's history. Actually, I did not know that.
Yeah, big trouble coming. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And was there something? The other Bob had sent me a note. There was maybe a little bit of something we missed on the Pennsylvania front. Did you have something extra from Pennsylvania for us?
From Pennsylvania, I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. It's a great big long piece here, but apparently, oh yes, I think that what's going on now is the governor is dangling money, a bribe, towards municipalities and local governments who opt to stay with the COVID shutdown. I'm just looking through this here, but the Senate voted 31-19. 2 Democrats siding with Republicans, by the way, to approve the resolution to direct the governor to end the COVID-19 emergency.
Interesting. Yeah. So it sounded like, they were dangling aid money and said, hey, if you guys stay shut down, we'll give you some more of the taxpayers' money. That's what government does, time and time again.
Yep, they get you hooked on the crack of government money.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this NPR article here. It's also, they got some sound bites on their website, and they're saying, you know what? This coronavirus response may have been blown entirely out of proportion. And I gotta say, as this stuff comes up and happens, you start to... Anytime you talk about statistics, statistics can be bent, modified, used to meet somebody's narrative. Well, they pointed out something pretty interesting. It's come out from the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, and what they're finding is the death rate is way, 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 way lower than they thought. And here's why. It has to do with how the testing was done. So they've been doing testing, the stick it up your nose thing, basically since the beginning. Since they had testing for coronavirus, that is the testing they've been doing. Well, that test can only tell you one thing. If that person currently has the virus. Not if they had it before, not if they have it the next day, only if they currently have the virus. Well, now that they've been doing antibody testing, they're finding that so many more people have already had the virus, so many more people than they ever thought, because the antibody will be there after you've had the virus. So before we were just testing, do you actively have it at this moment, versus now they're testing and seeing a lot of people did have it. A lot of people had it. And right now it sounds like a minimum of 50% of the people who had it didn't have any symptoms whatsoever. And then the remaining 50% that did have symptoms, many of them had such minor symptoms they didn't even realize that they had it. So they found that the number of people who had coronavirus is actually 11 times higher than what they thought it was. So that's a huge gap, which changes the death rate to closer to 0.5% for coronavirus, which is still technically higher than the flu. But before they were reporting the initial numbers at 5% or greater. New York, I think, initially said it was like 13%. You had Governor Cuomo parading around the state saying to have the virus is death. And now these numbers are coming out and they're going, oh, oops. The numbers we're getting are starting to say some pretty different things now. And I believe that the more testing that's done, the more antibody testing that's done, those numbers are probably going to continue to fall.
Yeah, and the number of cases detected is going to continue to rise, too. And by the way, one of the reasons why the numbers are as high as they are is because of the idiotic order from Governor Cuomo ordering sick people back into nursing homes, which were not equipped to deal with people who had COVID virus because they're not medical facilities. But that's a side note. But you're gonna start to see all these national reports, mostly from the left-wing sources such as NBC, MSNBC, CNN, and so forth, and maybe slightly less on the other major alphabet soup networks, that more cases are being reported now. So the cases are spiking. Well, the reason the cases are spiking is because testing is increasing. So more and more of these cases, as you suggest, are now being unearthed. These are not symptomatic people. There's not even people who are sick. They're just people who are testing positive. So those are being counted as, quote, cases, unquote.
Yeah. And so what I found very interesting, I was not aware of this, Dr. Fauci actually wrote an editorial in the beginning of March. He wrote it in the New England Journal of Medicine saying that the case fatality rate for COVID-19 may be considerably less than 1%, which to me means they've known since March that it was going to be less than 1%. And it was published. And that's a little frustrating to me. So what's happening right now, the National Institute of Health is doing a study. They're doing 10,000 tests a day. These are the antibody tests specifically. And they're going to complete this study and publish the results sometime in 2022. So about 2 years from now, maybe we'll have a snapshot at the actual truth of this situation. My hope is that the results get published before Cuomo's November election again in 2022. And we'll get to have hard, fast numbers that show the economy was shut down without real cause. I mean, we already know that people could have been a lot safer and kept their businesses open, and Cuomo chose to keep them locked down, to keep them shut down, and to use threats of government force and fines and taking away licensing to scare people into just staying home and not interacting with their day-to-day lives. But if we end up with actual physical evidence that, yeah, this was totally unnecessary, or even the vast majority of it was necessary, and that comes out before the 2022 election, I think that, I'm hoping anyways, that a lot of New Yorkers are going to sit there and go, man, that was some pretty terrible leadership. Maybe it's time for this guy to go.
Well, yeah, that's all very well and good, but we've got to get the candidates that can beat him. I mean, you can't beat somebody with nobody. And if he's the only really viable candidate out there, and I'm not talking about likable or competent or any of those objective criteria. I'm talking about electable in political terms. We're
$100 million
up the creek.
Yep, that's what you need, about $100 million, I think, to beat Cuomo. All right, guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow.